Hey y'all, Dr. Rebecca here, and today I want to talk to you about goal setting and the sunk costs fallacy. So, this pairs with a blog post that I wrote about setting New Year's resolutions and why I kind of want you, honestly, to shift the way that you do it from SMART goals to goals that are more flexible, value-driven, and compassionate. I think we all know what SMART goals are, right? They are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So, a lot of people will tell you that if you want to set goals and you want to actually meet your goal, these goals should be SMART. You should be very specific. It's not, I kind of want to get in better shape. It's like, I want to run a 5K within this amount of time. And it's specific. It's a 5K. It's not a marathon. It's measurable. I can actually measure how many miles I'm going. I'm not just getting in shape. I'm running a 5K. It's achievable. I'm not going to start with a marathon. Probably never going to do a marathon. It's relevant because there's this bigger goal of getting in shape, perhaps. And then it's time bound. I want to run a 5K by next summer. I do think those goals are good goals. I don't think they're bad goals, but I don't think that is like the pinnacle of goal setting. Instead, I really hope that you set goals that are flexible, value-driven, and compassionate. And in the blog post, I'll link it here, you'll be able to read more about what I mean by those. In this video, I want to talk a little bit more about that first one, about flexibility in your goals, because I think that especially when we're trying to do SMART goals, these really specific goals, right? Especially when we are such goal-oriented, high-achieving people, we forget that pivoting is not a bad thing. In fact, I think it can be really important to change a goal, to know when to pivot, and to know when to even give up the goal when it works for you. And to that point, I want to talk to you about the sunk costs fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy refers to when we are reluctant to abandon a goal or a strategy or a course of action because we've already sunk the costs into it. We've already invested heavily in it. And so we would rather stick with that goal than actually pivot and switch to something that is actually going to work better for us and our values. There's so many examples here. For an example I hear often, honestly, is the romantic example. I don't want to break up with him because we've been together for so long, right? Another really great one is like when people are really hesitant to stop reading books, to abandon books because they're halfway through, but they're not enjoying it. A huge one is things like an investment or something. Well, like I've already spent this much money on something, so I'm gonna keep up with it. I think the real key piece that we're talking about here is whether the past is in charge of our decision making or the future is in charge of our decision making. And by that, I mean, is it just because we've already done this thing that we're gonna keep doing it? Or is it because we know what we want the future to be and we're going to keep going in that direction? And that is where understanding the sunk cost fallacy and deciding not to fall prey to the sunk cost fallacy is really, really, really important. So when should we take into account the sunk cost fallacy? I think the most important point to do it, or the easiest one to see, is when we start to get that gut feeling that we're not in it anymore. We're not enjoying whatever it is. The goal doesn't feel like it matters as much as it used to. You find yourself asking, like, why am I sticking with this? That's a really important piece, a really important time to ask yourself if the reason you're still doing something is just because you have been doing it, rather than, do I want to keep doing it? And I think that recognizing that every single moment is indeed actually a time when we can make a decision that will change our life in the future, it's kind of like a wild thought, right? And this is a little bit of a kind of freaky thing to think about, but if you want to think about what you're going to be doing in 10 years, take a look at today. People don't change that much without a massive outside change or without intention. And so if we keep using the past, if we keep using our sunk costs to determine our behavior, we're never going to pivot, right? We're always going to go in that same direction. And I want you to be really intentional instead about whether you want to keep going in that direction. If you liked the info in this video, go ahead and check out my blog post. There's a little bit more info there about making and setting and pivoting from goals based on your values. If you are looking for a therapist and you're in Louisiana or Virginia, you can head over to my website to book a free 15-minute consultation and click over here for another video from me. See y'all later. Bye.